Chapter 195. The divine tree intently observed a creature. Indeed, it was one of the 7 kings of the sea. This being, with the ability to mimic the skills of its adversaries, had been preserved by the divine tree until this day. Now, having fully assessed it, it was revealed that this creature tends to reverse its evolutionary process if inactive. Currently, it has reverted to a completely vegetative state. These beings originally possess minimal intelligence, their brains undeveloped, driven only by a primal instinct to kill. This creature is now immersed in an endless slumber. Signs of life have completely vanished, yet the breath of a king still emanates from it. Considering this, the divine tree indeed conceived an intriguing idea. The light in the eyes of the divine tree brightened, slightly bowing its head as a cunning plan was being crafted. The divine tree would use this body to attract or control sea beasts and declare war on the remaining kings of the sea. No sooner thought than done. The divine tree immediately used its roots to operate on this creature. The sharp roots enveloped and pierced the body, ceaselessly advancing deep and kneading. With a loud noise, the roots finished kneading and forcefully slammed the creature to the ground. The process was so focused and tense that the divine tree had to exhale a few breaths. Now, it understood a bit of the feeling of surgeons in the operating room. A slight oversight and the patient would be ruined immediately. Remember, because this creature shares many similarities with the divine tree, it is unique and extremely precious. Under the sea surface, a space filled with water but silent, only the sound of bubbles rising to the surface. Perhaps the sea is still enjoying peaceful days. Since the appearance of the 7 kings, the sea has seen fewer territorial disputes, unlike the land, where danger lurks everywhere. Suddenly, the seabed shook. A large object was thrown down. Indeed, it was the Black Shell King, wrapped in the roots of the divine tree, both lying curled up silently on the seabed. After a long while, the soulless eyes of the Black Shell King began to open, the eye sockets dark as an abyss, completely devoid of signs of life. The divine tree at this moment had transformed into a dragon, perhaps more like a sea snake, raising its head high to observe its surroundings. After detecting no threats, it turned back to look at the creature under its feet. It had kneaded the Black Shell King into a 4-legged reptile with 2 long horns, resembling both an elephant and a rhinoceros. The divine tree would use the mark in the breath of this king to summon all the sea monsters. Thus, the divine tree plunged a root deep into the creature's back, quickly infiltrating and controlling the entire body. Immediately after, the smaller roots, functioning like veins in a body, began to envelop and control all parts of this king. The divine tree pumped life into it, and in just a moment, its eyes lit up. A perfect puppet was thus created. The Black Shell King began to roar loudly, full of power. The sound propagated further in water than in air, a low hum lasting several minutes, seeping into every rock, every grain of sand in the deep sea, causing the vast seabed to tremble incessantly. The roar ended, the sea surface returned to its previous silence, but in the distance, countless sea beasts began to march towards this direction. Now, the divine tree just needed to wait. Does anyone want to play cards? But then, nearly half an hour passed, and no beast had arrived yet. The divine tree began to doubt life. Or did it choose the wrong place? Or was this sea beast king abandoned by its people, and another king had ascended the throne? Impossible. Sea beasts are not humans. The breath mark of a king will be recognized forever. Enough. Just as it finished thinking, a large crowd of sea beasts appeared. Of course, there are 2 possibilities for this crowd. One is that they are nearby. 2 is that they are the strongest individuals and have superior speed, so they arrived early. The divine tree quietly observed. Of course, it didn't count anything, and it didn't need to be on high alert yet because it hadn't detected any significant dangerous entities. In this corner, the sea beasts indeed possess huge bodies, all shapes and sizes, all silently gathering before their king. They have no specific attitude or movement. The divine tree widened its eyes and roared to show its power. The beasts at this moment became even quieter and began to be wary of the pressure from the divine tree. Just as the rumors in the past, if the entire sea had participated in the previous war, humanity would have surely perished because just looking at these beasts, there are still many powerful sea tribes hiding in the vast sea that did not participate in the battle. Thinking of this, the divine tree broke out in a sweat. These are the trump cards of the Black Shell King. So the other 6 kings are also like this. Isn't their combined force too overbearing once they unite into an offensive front? It seems that even Misty Mountain cannot avoid extremely heavy losses when clashing with them. Looking at these beasts for a long time, stopping its train of thought, the divine tree calmly asked, "Do you agree to follow me? I will be your new king." At this moment, the beasts began to have different reactions. Their eyes all lit up. Some were angry, some were neutral, some were surprised. But the hammerhead shark that was grinding its teeth, perhaps this is a congenital defect, because I saw it grinding its teeth from the beginning. In the distance, a palace within a seashell suddenly lit up. The mermaid, one of the 7 kings of the sea, had noticed that countless powerful breaths that had been slumbering at the bottom of the sea had awakened, feeling quite strange. Remember, the mermaid is the king who tends to use her brain the most. She is very intelligent, always considering and logically processing problems. Last time, when the prophet drove the sea army to invade the land, she basically didn't understand why they were fighting like that, so she just participated for fun, not greedily fighting like the other kings. After thinking for a while, she felt something was not right. Could it be that the Black Shell King had reappeared? Wasn't he sacrificed in the previous battle? Or has a new king been born? Perhaps a new king has just ascended the throne, but that would also be unstable, as wars often occur when a new king ascends, and there is no prophet to stabilize the situation now. The more she thought about it, the more troublesome it became. So she decided to pick up her trident and swiftly head to where the powerful breaths were gathering to confirm. The sea dragon carried her. With a few flicks of its tail, it disappeared from sight. Indeed, a top-notch means of transportation under the sea. Of course, the divine tree with its 2 long whiskers had caught the strong signal of the mermaid. Well, a major character finally appeared. The divine tree and the Black Shell King were standing on a high rock. From here they could easily observe the other party coming. The divine tree was also preparing mentally for a battle. After all, these sea beasts basically have very low intelligence, but a high instinct to fight. So a battle is inevitable. Just a few minutes later, the mermaid arrived. She flicked her beautiful tail to keep herself upright. Let me introduce again. This is the Mermaid King, Elsa, Transcendent Third Order Peak. She looked at the divine tree with icy cold eyes. Behind her were several tall and strong bodyguards, their sharp teeth already sharpened. As long as their master's words were not pleasing, they would rush to tear the enemy apart. The divine tree looked up. She was so beautiful, and she was the queen of the mermaids. Indeed, she exuded an extraordinary aura. Could it be that the divine tree wanted to collect another beauty, addict her with the essence of life, and there would be a third messenger? Elsa on this side looked strangely for a while, found out that the thing in front of her was a creature similar to a plant. Perhaps because of this form, the pressure of the divine tree had been greatly reduced, not making her feel wary and defensive. Also just in time, the divine tree wanted to test the strength of the sea beasts in the Black Shell King's army. He immediately gave a fierce order, "Go, kill them." As soon as these words fell, the sea beasts of the Black Shell King rushed up without hesitation. They would tear the mermaid's clothes to pieces, and then eat her alive. How so? Eat alive without stripping clothes? Of course, it's also possible, but it will lose the fun of the story. Back to the point, the mermaid saw this scene. She angrily raised her hand. "Damn it, advance." Immediately the sea beast army she brought also opened their big mouths and rushed up to fight. Then it was the bloody battle of the sea beasts. They were not afraid, only knew to rush into biting each other like war tools. Suddenly, Elsa realized that the divine tree was nowhere to be seen. Damn it, where did that guy go? On the rock promontory, only the Black Shell King stood alone, oblivious. The next moment, indeed, the rogue divine tree appeared behind her, opening its large mouth intending to snap at her. But Elsa reacted extremely quickly, instantly encasing her body in a sturdy glass sphere. The divine tree's mouth also opened wide in response, almost dropping its jaw. But don't underestimate the divine tree. Its teeth are extremely hard. Even without diamondization, it can bite through this protective layer. See, in just a moment, it cracked Elsa's protective layer, and just a second later, the protective layer shattered. Some people asked why it attacked stealthily like this. Why didn't it snap straight at her butt? Ah, perhaps we shouldn't confuse the divine tree with a watchdog. At this point, Elsa's protective shell had shattered. She quickly counterattacked, giving the divine tree a series of hot, distant kisses. That was the skill bubble attack. The divine tree looked at this attack. It seemed harmless. It didn't understand the opponent's purpose. But then, the divine tree's entire field of vision was blocked, as the bubbles exploded into thousands of air bubbles. At this moment, Elsa had maintained the necessary distance, but the divine tree also reacted very quickly, darted out of the bubble crowd and rushed towards Elsa like lightning. It seems that the divine tree felt like it was being played and became a bit self-conscious. Without saying much, it opened its large mouth, a mouth full of frost energy, Ice Age. The icy breath shone strongly on Elsa. She didn't have time to dodge. Anyway, in terms of strength, it was indeed a huge gap. Just now the divine tree was just probing. Under the influence of the Ice Age, an entire area of the seabed turned into ice. Elsa was also tightly trapped inside. The divine tree silently watched, its collection blood boiling. End of chapter 195.